Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai.
Okay.
Name se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai.
Yay.
Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Munamai ki jai. Gangamai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All
Hare
glories to
Krishna.
the assembled devotees.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaura Pani Pacharine. Nirvishesha Shrinivan Pashyati Deshatari. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, Text 36. We're hearing Parikshit Maharaj reciting this verse. Anyatha te vyakta gater darshanam na katam vrinam itaram riyamananam samsiddhasya vaniyasa. Anyatha te vyakta gater darshanam na katam vrinam itaram riyamananam samsiddhasya vaniyasa. Anyatha te vyakta gatir darshanam na katham rinam itaram riyamananam samsiddhasya vaniyasa. Please recite, dear devotees.
Anyata te vyaktagate darshanam nah katham ranam nitaram briyamananam samsiddhasya vaniyasaha.
Anyatha te avyakta gatir darshanam na katham rinam nitaram mriyamananam samsiddhasya vaniyasha.
All right. Go on to synonyms. Anyatha, otherwise. Te, your. Avyakta gate, of one whose movements are invisible. Darshana, meeting. Na, for us. Katham, how. Nrinam, of the people. Nitaram, specifically. Mriyamananam, of those who are about to die. Sangsidhasya, of one who is all perfect. Vaniyasa, voluntary appearance. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, without being inspired by Lord Krishna, how is it that you have voluntarily appeared here, though you are moving incognito to the common man and are not visible to us, who are on the verge of death? The great sage Shukadeva Goswami was certainly inspired by Lord Krishna to appear voluntarily before Maharaj Parikshit, the great devotee of the Lord, just to give him the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. One can achieve the nucleus of the devotional service of the Lord by the mercy of the spiritual master and the personality of Godhead. The spiritual master is the manifested representative of the Lord to help one achieve ultimate success. One who is not authorized by the Lord cannot become a spiritual master. Srila Shukadeva Goswami is an authorized spiritual master, and thus he was inspired by the Lord to appear before Maharaj Parikshit and instruct him in the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. One can achieve the ultimate success of going back to Godhead if he is favored by the Lord's sending his true representative. As soon as a true representative of the Lord is met by a devotee of the Lord, the devotee is assured a guarantee for going back to Godhead just after leaving the present body. This, however, depends on the sincerity of the devotee himself. The Lord is seated in the heart of all living beings, and thus he knows very well the movements of all individual persons. As soon as the Lord finds that a particular soul is very eager to go back to Godhead, the Lord at once sends his bona fide representative. The sincere devotee is thus assured by the Lord of going back to Godhead. The conclusion is that to get the assistance and help of a bona fide spiritual master means to receive the direct help of the Lord himself. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, we'll read the verse one more time. Otherwise, without being inspired by Lord Krishna, how is it that you have voluntarily appeared here, though you are moving incognito to the common man and are not visible to us, who are on the verge of death? Dear Vaishnavas, I'm honored to be here in all of your association. I request all of you who are senior to me by age, experience in Krishna consciousness, to kindly give me your blessings and permission to say something that will hopefully be of value to you. So we're hearing in this section the glorification of Shukadev Goswami by Maharaj Parikshit. The beauty of Shukadev Goswami is so striking in this section. You all have been hearing this description. But as I was hearing this description just this morning, it became more vivid than ever before, seeing in my mind's eye the lotus-like eyes of Shukadev Goswami, his curly locks, his beautiful, he has a broad chest, and everything on him is just gently formed. He's darkish in color, and all the sages present, recognizing this, knew that he was an exalted soul just by seeing him. And so Maharaj Parikshit begins to offer prayers. And now he is saying that you must have been inspired by Lord Krishna to come here, because ordinary people can't understand you. You're invisible, you're incognito to the common man. He had this group of women and children following him around. And as soon as they entered this assembly of sages and demigods and brahmanas, these followers left immediately Shukadev Goswami. So why they were following him, I don't exactly know, perhaps out of curiosity. But they couldn't understand how exalted he was. Devotees are very rare in this world, especially pure devotees. And so they can be in the world and we may not recognize it. Even for us, we are with devotees often on Zoom or on Sundays at least, if not more. And we may take for granted the exalted status of these associates that we have. Easily get complacent. We think, oh yeah, you know, they're a devotee, but there's this and there's this. And so we start to fault find, like seeing spots on the moon. So if we don't regularly train our mind, retrain our mind to see the good qualities in devotees, we can easily get to an offensive mentality because familiarity breeds contempt. So this is one point of caution, is remembering that devotees are very rare and very exalted. And we should be very cautious about becoming over familiar and becoming overly fault-finding with them. So now, especially pure devotees are rare in this world. It's said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahmanda Brahmite. How does the first line go? It goes on, Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. So as we've been traveling through material existence, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, millions of different forms, as plants, as animals, as human beings, as higher beings, in lower planets and higher planets, life after life after life after life, having a family, having a career, having friendships, building up a reputation, establishing ourselves in society, getting old, dying, being born, doing it again and again and again and again. We've been doing this since time immemorial. We don't know how long we've been doing this. We think this one life is so long, so important. And yet it's just one little flash in the spectrum of eternity. And in all these lifetimes, we have been without the association of the Lord's pure devotees. But at some point, out of inconceivable good fortune, and in some way blesses us with some good fortune, they, just by looking at us, a devotee can give to us the beginning of devotional service. Just by saying some word, just by desiring, just by their prayers. Maybe we received some prasadam. Maybe we heard the Maha Mantra. Maybe we heard the Harinam party going by. Maybe we had a family member who took up devotional service, who was distantly related to us and gave us the benefit. So for some reason or other, by the grace of a devotee, we got the beginning of devotional service. And we are now at this point where we have regular association of devotees. We have the ability every day to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, the ability to chant the Maha Mantra together, to come to a temple. And all of this due to the grace, the divine grace of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada here in his purport speaks so poetically. Like the verse I quoted from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada says, one can achieve the nucleus of devotional service of the Lord by the mercy of the spiritual master and the personality of Godhead. the Guru Krishna Prasad, by the combined mercy of Guru and Krishna. Bhakti Lata Bij, we receive the seed of devotional service. The spiritual master is the external representative of the Lord, and Lord Krishna as the super soul, as the Chaitya Guru, guides us from within. And by this combination, and by the help of other devotees and the Shastras, we're able to understand the direction of where to go. And Lord Krishna is so kind, he makes it very easy. If we're just sincere, you don't have to be a great scholar to practice devotional service. You don't have to be able to memorize many verses. You don't have to be a great singer. You don't have to be wealthy. You don't have to have any qualification except sincerity. This is what Srila Prabhupada says also in the purport, that as soon as a true representative of the Lord is met by a devotee of the Lord, the devotee is assured a guarantee for going back to Godhead just after leaving the present body. This, however, depends on the sincerity of the devotee himself. So Srila Prabhupada gives such an emphatic promise to us. He says, the devotee is assured a guarantee. So both of those words give full confidence. If you are assured of something, it's going to happen. And if somebody guarantees, it will happen. So we have all met representatives of the Lord. We have met Srila Prabhupada through his books, through his lectures, his letters. We have met so many other exalted devotees who are capable of bringing us back to Godhead. And so we are assured a guarantee of going back to Godhead in this, after this life, just after leaving the present body. This is so exciting that we can go back to the unlimited, ever fresh, inconceivably sweet world of Goloka Vrindavan, our home, where we can always be in complete satisfaction in the association of the Supreme Lord and his most intimate family members, friends, lovers, all of his amazing devotees. We can be in this indescribable world just after leaving the present body. We can give up this world where there's war, where there's torture, where there's atrocities, where there's hurricanes and forest fires and air pollution and toxicity in every corner, and corruption and cheating and death. We don't have to be a part of all this. Disease. We're here. We've been here for so many lifetimes, enduring all of these sufferings. And just after leaving this lifetime, which for some of us here, maybe 50 years, for some of us here, maybe a lot less, nobody knows when they will leave. But Srila Prabhupada is assuring us, we will go back to this eternal, glorious kingdom of God. But what is the effort on our part? What do we have to do? This depends on the sincerity of the devotee himself. All you have to do is be sincere, and you can go back to Godhead after leaving this present body. Srila Prabhupada continues, the Lord is seated in the heart of all living beings, and thus he knows very well the movements of all individual persons. So Krishna is within our heart. Sarvasya chaham hridi sanavishno matasmitir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna is in our heart as the super soul, and he causes forgetfulness, he causes remembrance, and he gives knowledge. And he says, Tesham satata yuktanam, for those who are always engaged in serving me, bhajatam priti purvakam, with love, dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. I give them the knowledge by which they can come back to me. And in the next verse, he says that he, with the torchlight of knowledge, he destroys the darkness of ignorance out of his unlimited kindness. So whatever is holding us back, whatever wrong ideas we have that prevent us from quickly progressing in devotional service, Krishna will destroy those from within with the torchlight of knowledge. Whatever anarthas we have that are holding us back, whether it's attachment to family or whether it's attachment to sense gratification in whatever form, attachment to money, whether it's doubts about the philosophy. Maybe we don't understand how is it that these descriptions of the spiritual world are real because this culture tells us that these things are mythology. Whatever it might be, whatever is holding us back, these demon-like doubts and anarthas, Krishna will destroy from within, especially as we come here every day to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. If we come nityam, regularly, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, then nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Then we get fixed devotional service, naishtiki. So when we clear away these things that are holding us back, then we get to be fixed in our devotional service. So the reason we're not progressing quickly is because we're not fixed. We go up and down. Sometimes we're enthusiastic about devotional service. Sometimes we're not enthusiastic about devotional service. And so our progress doesn't go steadily. Or sometimes we get caught up. Someone poses a doubt to us when we're at work or with friends or family or some other devotee. That doubt starts to hold us back. Maybe we hear some criticism of another devotee. We start to develop a critical mentality and it slows our progress. So by coming regularly to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and by serving the Lord's pure devotees, we can remove these unwanted things in our heart and get fixed in our devotional service. Bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. And we will make steady and quick progress. And so, Srila Prabhupada continues in his purport. As soon as the Lord finds that a particular soul is very eager to go back to Godhead, the Lord at once sends his bona fide representative. And again, look at this, Srila Prabhupada in the same purport. He says now, the sincere devotee is thus assured of the Lord of going back to Godhead. Assured by the Lord of going back to Godhead. So 3 times, Srila Prabhupada very strongly assures us, he promises us, you will go back to Godhead. You just be sincere and you follow the pure devotee. So a number of the devotees on this class are initiated. Some are not yet initiated. But this is an essential step in the process. And so whether we are initiated or not, the qualification of the spiritual master is important. We need to find a pure soul who can take us back to Godhead. But perhaps more important is our qualification as a disciple. How sincere are we in following the instructions of the spiritual master? Because sure, you can have a pure devotee as your spiritual master, but if you don't follow the spiritual master, then it won't do so much good. This is what happens in Christianity these days, is that people will say, well, Jesus died for my sins, so basically I can do whatever I want. As long as I believe, then I'm okay, and I'll go to heaven. So we can see this in ISKCON sometimes, is that my spiritual master is so exalted. So, I don't have to try that hard in my devotional service because my spiritual master is so exalted. This is a wrong idea. We have to show our willingness. We have to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Krishna says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. That when we approach a spiritual master, it needs to be done in submission with inquiry and service. So not that just I take initiation from someone exalted and then I can sit back comfortably and ride back to Godhead. No, we have to inquire. We have to be thoughtful and clear away our doubts. We have to do service. We have to transform our life little by little into a pure devotional service. And by reciprocating in this way with the Lord's pure devotee, then we are assured of going back to Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada concludes the purport that to get the assistance and help of the bona fide spiritual master means to receive the direct help of the Lord himself. So it's said, by the grace of Krishna, we receive the Guru. And by the grace of the Guru, we get the grace of Krishna. Or another way, we hear in the Gurvashtakam, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado. By the grace of the spiritual master, we get the grace of Krishna, the blessings of Krishna. So this is the secret of success in spiritual life, is pleasing the spiritual master. If the spiritual master is pleased, they have an intimate connection with Lord Krishna, and they can request the Lord to take us back. And so it's very easy. You just please the spiritual master, that's all. And one way to please the spiritual master is to be very steady in our devotional service. If we have taken vows, or if we're striving to take vows, that's how we can please the spiritual master, is following seriously and sincerely our initiation vows. Every day, steadily chanting, dutifully following the principles. And to whatever capacity we have, if we can share Krishna consciousness, this will be extremely pleasing to the spiritual master. So I'll share a few thoughts on this point, and then I'll finish off and request your thoughts and questions. So please begin to think of reflections you'd like to share. Krishna says in the 18th chapter of the Gita, Nachatasman Manusheshu Kaschin Me Priyakritama, that nobody is more dear to him than the one who spreads Krishna consciousness, who shares the message of the Gita with others. So it may be in a small way. It may be with children. It may be with people you meet at the grocery store. It may be with someone who's a relative, who's open-minded. It may be on social media. Whatever it is, maybe it's giving classes here. If you can share Krishna consciousness with others, it will be very, very pleasing to the Lord. And he says, nobody is more dear to me than the one who shares Krishna consciousness, nor will there ever be one more dear. So if Krishna is pleased by this sharing of Krishna consciousness, certainly the spiritual master will be pleased in the same way. And we will get unimaginable happiness by doing this. This is my experience. As I help others take to bhakti, there's especially one person in my life who I've known for the last 3 years now, since I just began seriously traveling and preaching. I met him at a university in Florida, and from the very beginning, he was very inquisitive and open-minded, and I've just stayed in touch with this person. His name is Stephen, and he's a senior in college next year, and he's now staying in an ashram for the summertime. He's taking up 16 rounds every day, following the 4 regulative principles for the first time. And he's becoming so, so happy in devotional service. And he's thanking me regularly. And it's the sweetest relationship. I feel the greatest happiness to know that I've been able to be an instrument for Krishna bringing someone back to him, for Srila Prabhupada's mercy to go to this soul who didn't know what the purpose of life was. And so every step I see him advance makes me so satisfied, more than anything else. Just like I don't have experience, but I imagine a parent seeing their child's growth, seeing their teeth grow in, just like Mother Yashoda, seeing little Krishna and Balaram's teeth grow in. They became so happy. Or watching your child learn to talk. So it's almost like that when you have someone who you're helping along in Krishna consciousness, like watching someone very dear to you, like a child almost, maturing and becoming more self-confident and able to then help others. So, in conclusion, Parikshit Maharaj is saying to Shukadev Goswami, you are not able to be seen by the common man. Pure devotees are very rare in this world. And you've come here inspired by Lord Krishna. So we all have the blessing of the association of devotees, the blessing of Srila Prabhupada's association through his purports, through his lectures. So if we can just take advantage sincerely of this association, meet a spiritual master, serve that spiritual master, sincerely try to please the spiritual master, and especially by trying to share Krishna consciousness. By so doing, we are assured, guaranteed of going back to Godhead after leaving this body. What an exciting hope, what an exciting future we have. So these are my thoughts, and I would love to hear other thoughts from you all. And please, what reflections, questions, comments? Can you all share with the group?
Anybody who has anything they'd like to share, please just go ahead or raise your hand and we can do it in order. While you're all still thinking, I was just, I've not had an experience like you've had of affecting somebody in such a personal way. There was just one family that I was able to encourage them to come to Rath Yatra, and then after that they've become very involved at the temple. They recently welcomed deities into their home, and but what my struggle is, I'm still not feeling that of helping others. That thought of, the way you said you help Stephen find that happiness, I am still not getting that urge or that thought of helping others. If I'm doing anything at all, it is more so for helping myself. I myself have so much to learn, and I think it's kind of a struggle. Should I be helping others? Should I be helping myself? I'm trying to feel that happiness. I'm trying to, feel that happiness. So do I help myself first? Do I keep looking for that? Or do I, I keep thinking about that line Prabhupada had said in the Leelamrit as he was going down New Jersey Turnpike towards Butler. He looked at all the people on the streets and thought, look at all these miserable people. Look how unhappy they are. And I want to help all of these people. That feeling is not coming to me. And not that I want to be like Prabhupada. I'm just saying that feeling of helping others is not coming, But I myself am looking for that happiness. So which one do we do first?
Yeah.
And I have, my capacity is very little, very, and so where do I put my energy?
Well, I'll share what I have from my realization. I'd love to hear other thoughts if there are more. Is that, yes, we must start with ourselves. We make sure we have strong sadhana. We are filled up with our bhakti practice. We have good association. We are feeling nourished. And then naturally, by that nourishment, our cup is overflowing and we want to share it.
Mm.
And I definitely don't have that feeling of overwhelming compassion when I see people in this world. It's more theoretical.
Mm.
But I know that my spiritual master, that Lord Chaitanya, that Srila Prabhupada, they all are asking me to be a guru. And that can mean something. Just, whoever you meet, wherever you are, just try to tell them something about what you know of Krishna consciousness. So for Stephen, I only spend an hour a week with him.
Mm.
We have one phone call a week, and I've been doing that with him regularly for a few years. So it's actually very little of a time investment for myself. But what he gets out of it is so huge, and the satisfaction I get is so huge. So even if you don't have much capacity in terms of time and energy, if you want to just call up that family once a week, just that little effort of, I'm thinking about you, I care about you, how can I help you? Just knowing someone is out there like that is so profound.
Yeah, so this family, I think, has made huge advances without my help. They are doing really well. They have good association. They have, they're doing wonderfully well. And so I think they're in good hands. They have really found very nice devotees to associate with. They're getting whatever it is need whenever they need, and they do whatever they can. So all is well with them. Maybe because they don't have my help as much. Prananath Prabhu has his hand up. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Brhat-mrdanga Prabhu. Thank you so much for
Hare
the
Krishna.
wonderful class.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. I was just meditating on the point in terms of reflection. I was just meditating on the point that about following the instructions of the spiritual master. You know, as you rightly pointed out, that the guru may be a pure devotee, but if you don't follow the instructions, then you're wasting the opportunity. You're not taking advantage of that. I think it's something that I just wanted to reflect and meditate on that point. And then I also wanted to take the opportunity to share a few points about Mataji's comment and question, if that's okay.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Yeah. First of all, I disagree that Mataji doesn't do much for the benefit of others. For so many years, I have known Mataji. She is so wonderfully taking care of so many children in Krishna consciousness. She's been the Sunday school teacher for many years. I mean, I'm not trying to, but there's no service that can beat, these are Vaikuntha children who are coming to the temple. Prabhupada has said many times. Then she is inspiring and so patiently nurturing and taking care of these children for so many years. I mean, this is a amazing service, and these are the future leaders. These are the future of the movement. So I totally disagree that she doesn't touch any lives. So that's one point. And and she's also doing to the very little that I know of, in terms of managing in the management role also. She's, it may not be visible. She's touching many lives by helping serve in the management position of the temple. So, and then with these two, I also remembered that when you get on a flight, and you and your baby are in the flight, or your child, the flight attendants before takeoff, they give a lot of instructions. When the face mask drops, you put it first for yourself before you put it to the child, right? So yes, you first we take care of our sadhana first, make it strong. And then when we are happy and blissful, then naturally we want to give that joy to others, we want to help others. Naturally comes when we are happy in Krishna consciousness. So just these few points I wanted to share. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Prananath Prabhu. Yeah, you reminded me of the verse just before the one I quoted. So Krishna says, one who shares Krishna consciousness there's no one more dear to me, nor will there ever be one more dear to me than that devotee. And we might think that this means going out to atheistic people, materialistic people who have no idea about bhakti and sharing with them. And sure, that's part of it. But actually, if you look at the Sanskrit of the verse just before, ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshu abhidasyati. So Krishna says that one who shares the supreme secret mad bhakteshu with the devotees. So what Mother Shobha Radhe is doing, teaching devotee children, they are devotees from past lives who are continuing their service. This is a more literal description of what Krishna is saying, is that one who shares the message of the Gita with the devotees, there's no one more dear to me. So preaching also means teaching devotees. So yes, Prananath, I really appreciate the glorification you gave.
That is just one of the many services that she does, one or two of the many services she does, including arranging for the Sunday picnic every year. So patiently, dealing with so many garden variety of devotees is not easy, right? And she so amazingly does this, and successfully is doing it for so many years. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Golokananda Priya, Mataji, please.
Oh, thank you. We had Midanga Prabhu, very nice class, a very instructive class.
Mataji.
And one thing I just say, we may not like cultivate, go out and cultivate new people, but many people who have been coming to the temple regularly, they really need help also. They need somebody, to help them, because they may come and attend kirtan and everything. There's a lot of thing about devotional service they don't know. So it's very important also to take care of the devotee who are already coming and just need guidance, to further their spiritual life. This is one, realization I got. A lot of people, like if they want to do service, they don't even know what the standard, what the etiquette, what everything. They just need training. They may be coming for years, but they don't have the training that Srila Prabhupada and like you, ashram devotee, you got from senior devotees. So this is a very important to train people who's already existing devotee, like congregation members who are already coming. When some of them are initiated, still they don't know about Vaishnava etiquette. They don't know about the rule, so many rules that we follow being a temple devotee, about deity worship, about kitchen cleanliness, about all this stuff. All these things need to be, we need to really try, to help existing devotees also.
Yes, thank you so much. Very important point. It's very easy to do. We all know someone in this community who we have a good relationship with, so we could think of one small way we could connect with that person and help them to advance. It's a wonderful, wonderful point. Kalpesh Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhuji, I wanted to share my stuff. Like I have like similar struggle. What Subharada Mataji said. More of my service, which I try to do, is more mechanical in nature, to be honest, because it's not really making my consciousness, So, and every time my struggle is due to finding some kind of results, looking for results out of what I'm doing, and not really doing for. I mean, that is the mentality which I have been trained from childhood. Always think about yourself, and that is how the education system has corrupted the whole mentality of mine. That how can you always think about yourself, and more about selfishness within for my own stress. So when and I realized this by understanding the book distribution service, because I have a fall down in my service a lot when I'm not able to go out, and the only reason which comes in my mind is because I'm looking for a result all the time for those. And I'm thinking, okay, what will I get out of this, and that is where I'm not really progressing, because I actually I fall down more. So because my sadhana is weak, that's the number one point. I'm not understanding the scripture, and not probably adopt to develop the taste of chanting the holy name. So that is one of the biggest reason for me for falling down. At the same time, that false ego is coming very high. So I recall this verse from 12th chapter, like Krishna says, Adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara sama dukkha sukha shami santushtam satatam yogi yat atma dhrana nishaya. So what are the qualities, like who is the dearest to Krishna? When he is free from enviousness. Basically, it is very subtle to understand what is the enviousness, how we are, like how I am envious to others in whatever my exchange in this world, and how much false ego is playing loud on this, like, because I'm trying to always you know look like a master rather than a servant. I don't have a servant mentality at all, because every time I'm looking for results in whatever exchange I'm doing, so that is where I see. And sometime in beaten pieces, I understand, like, okay, like if I'm not envious, then the natural consequence is to become friendly to others, and then the compassion will come. So it's coming from that, actually, not from intellect. So as soon as more and more my intellect and discriminate it, I'm always going into that trouble of results. So I know I may sound, but my problem is my sadhana and thinking about result. That is where I'm very have a in very my services are getting interrupted a lot because of that. Thinking about, oh, I'm doing this, but they are not going to read the book. Oh, I'm doing this, but they are totally materialistic people. But I've seen some signs that sometimes it's not what we are doing. We are just an instrument, and we have to do what our follow the instruction, or how Prahlad Prabhu said, that. So I don't know. I have a struggle for my own self, So please, if you can guide us.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your sincere reflections. So, yeah, we desire a certain result in our services, and we are not fueled by strong sadhana, so we're not able to be steady. Yeah, I have the similar experience. What I'm trying to do is, and similar to book distribution, it's a long-term kind of thing. You give someone a book, you don't know when the result will come. You can't see it very quickly. If you cook a meal and you give it to someone and they eat it and they're happy, it's very easy to see, okay, I've pleased someone, I've done something beneficial. But with these services related to cultivation of long-term Krishna consciousness, it takes a long time to see. I think probably Mother Shobha Radhe could help, because in the service of educating children is similar. I'm sure it can be very frustrating, and you want them to behave in a certain way. Or even with parenting, right? You want your children to act in a certain way. You're attached to the result, maybe that they're going to become a devotee. So I think Mother Shobha Radhe or some other parent or teacher here, I think those reflections from your experience would be valuable here. Would somebody like to share? Yes, Mother Archana Bhakti, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisance. Actually, I was going to share something else, but just on this point, maybe they're related. I'll just say what I was going to say, and that'll connect this into that. I was just going to share that about feeling compassion. I think all of us have this experience. From what I heard, we don't really have that feeling of compassion, because this is a very high level of high state of consciousness. It's the level next to love of Godhead. When love of Godhead increases to such an extent, it goes beyond, it's like overflows. When love of Godhead overflows, the heart of this devotee melts. It becomes liquefied and it starts flowing towards the suffering souls. That's called compassion. So, Srila Prabhupada had that. Our acharyas had that. But this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. They are giving that opportunity to us, even though we are not on that level. Simply by becoming their instruments, we are becoming part of that effort of that compassion to the conditioned souls. So it's our great fortune. And just doing it because it, as you put it so nicely in the class, because this pleases the spiritual master, and he's given his life for this. I don't have any realization. All I know from what he said, this pleases him, so I'll just keep pushing myself to do that. That's my state of consciousness. Now, as far as getting the results or not, of course it is encouraging if you get the results, but that is a material consciousness. It's not yet a spiritual consciousness if you're doing it because of the results. It's okay, you start with that, but we are expected to grow gradually beyond that. Do it because it is service, because it pleases the spiritual master, regardless of whether you get the results or not. Then you actually become steady. Like you put certain hours, like those who are book distributors. I haven't done book distribution, but those who are senior devotees who've been book distributing, they set, like every day I'm going to do it for so many hours, and they just do it regardless of whatever, sunshine or rain, whatever. They just do it because this is their service. And it is like that in any field. Actually, it's about commitment. And also talking about children, same thing. It's commitment. You're committed to doing it. Whether you see the results or not, you do it with a commitment, because that is your service to Krishna. Whether you get the results or not, this is your service to Krishna. And as Prabhuji said, it gives you fulfillment, certainly, because you're doing it as a service. And sometimes you get results, sometimes you don't get result. Depending on where we are in our stage of advancement, we may get excited seeing the results, but the more advanced a devotee becomes, the result really does not disturb his service. He will continue with his service regardless of the result. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, one more point on what Shobha Radhe Mataji said about I feel like I don't have, or helping oneself before helping others. I heard once in a lecture by His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj. Maharaj said, if you want to preach, if you want to share Krishna consciousness with others, you just read. You read Srila Prabhupada's books and you repeat what you have read. That's the best way to be a preacher. That's all. Really. You read. When you read and you do it regularly, what happens is you get inspiration yourself. You are amazed by what you read. And then you have to share it with others, because when you find something wonderful, you'll share it with somebody. It may be your children, your friend, or someone on the street. You will share it. It's natural. So if you want to do good to others, you read the books. You want to be a preacher, you read Srila Prabhupada's books, and everything else will follow. Just you read. And without reading, if I try to become a preacher, instead of doing service, I'll be doing disservice, because now I'll tell all types of concoctions. So you read. So yes, we have to help ourselves. You chant and you read, and then it will come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bhakti David?
Thanks.
Hare Krishna, you're on mute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I was, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I was just meditating, and very nice words from Acharan Bhakti Dev. That's very great. I was just also reflecting that Krishna's mercy is in the service, not in the results of the service. Just keep that in mind.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really nice. If we stay focused on doing our service rather than the results, that's where the mercy is. Though in one sense, you could say that whether we are success or failure, that's also Krishna's mercy, because it's exactly what we need. Maybe we need to feel that we were a failure so we can become detached from the results.
Like Achana Bhakti Maharaj was saying, that you read and you just keep reading Prabhupada's books, and then you can get the inspiration of preaching. Sobarade, she does that for the kids. She teaches the kids. So she reads and she does take a lot of work for them. And then she goes and preaches them in the Sunday school. So that itself is the lesson for her. So same thing, she's doing that. So she can preach like that. Once if we don't read, I don't think we can get any knowledge or anything. But that is a good thing. And then results, we don't know. We cannot feel for the results. So if they come too many good results if we get, then our ego will go up. Then we'll say, oh, I'm doing a lot of good work. That falls. So that is what I thought.
One thing about results, Guru Maharaj would say, is the result is also dependent on the recipient. It depends, whether they are in this, if they are ready to accept. So that it's not dependent on just you, it is dependent on them also. Like I was talking to my son yesterday, and it was a mundane example. He's going through some situation. And I said, whether or not you're successful depends on how the other person reacts to this problem that you're having with this person. So, not to focus on that and to focus on what it is you need to do. We need to continue. And like all of you have been saying, we need to do our service and not keep that contingent on the result. We need to know that whatever service we are doing, we're doing it the best way we can, to the best of our ability, and not leaving anything behind, doing whatever it is we can, putting all our energy into it, and that's it. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And sorry again for coming in late this morning.
No problem.
All the days to be talked about like this, it had to be today when I was at the computer, but busy shopping, and so that's what got me.
All this discussion reminded me of the sloka that Karmanya eva adhikarasya ma
Paresh kadachana.
Yeah, doing work is our endeavor. We should not think about the fruits, even though we are going to get the fruits. But in this all the discussion, inspired me to think about that. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you. I like everyone's.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very good class.
Thank you all. One quick.
Mataji also made very good point. Inspired.
One thing I want to add up for what Achanam Bhakti said about reading. Just a couple of days ago, I read some conversation of Srila Prabhupada. Say, if you want to speak about Krishna, you read my book, you quote from my book, then after you share your realization. Yeah.
Simple.
That's good. Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it means to be guru, is you hear from the right source and you repeat it and you practice it. It's very simple, actually. So quick note, Dronacharya Prabhu texted me and he said that Chandra Mauli Maharaj will actually be here on Tuesday night, giving a class at the temple from 6:30 to 8 p.m. So please come by the temple on Tuesday evening if you're able to hear Maharaj speak. We were talking in this class about getting the association of exalted souls. So please take advantage. Krishna has blessed us with Chandramauli Maharaj's association. So thank you all very much for this wonderful discussion. Thank you for the opportunity to speak what I have heard from Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for a nice class, nice discussion. So this is what morning devotee association is. It helps us.
So we'll have
Learn
more devotee association at 5 o'clock today at the happy hour, tomorrow morning for Bhagavatam, and tomorrow evening at the temple. Hope to see all of you at the temple tomorrow. That's it for this morning then.
Right.
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you all.
Vanshakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhobhye vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.